Hazbin Hotel has bad writing, but fun characters, good songs, and an interesting idea, so I don't know. What's funny about this is fun characters, good songs, and an interesting idea are all things we would call good writing. Hazbin Hotel does not have bad writing. And it bothers me when people say this, especially when they say it in what feels like a defense. Like that previous comment where it's like, oh, the writing's bad, but the characters are fun. My least favorite is when they say every fan knows the writing is garbage, but excuse you, you don't speak for me. But also, they very rarely bring up an argument as to why the writing is bad. And when they do, very rarely do they bring up an argument as to why the writing's bad that I agree with. And even in the places I do agree the writing is a bit weak, like the pacing, I still don't think that makes all the writing of the show bad. And there actually are places where the pacing works. For example, I think Alistair's arc in season 2 is very well paced. We see him struggling at the beginning with his wound and his position at the hotel. We see his frustration. We see that build until we hit the midpoint of the show, where we see that he is going to do something about it to get out of it. And then from the midpoint onwards, we see him sort of simmering in the background, building his plan, and we as the audience are wondering what's going on until the finale, when it all comes together. And his arc is complete in a very satisfying way. I also think certain episodes are paced very well. Episode 4 of season 1, I think, has very, very good pacing. The pacing for me isn't that it's all rushed, it's that it's inconsistent. Some of it is rushed and some of it isn't. And it's clear to me that they rush the stuff that is considered lower priority, so why not just take it out? But that's its own rant. And then we also have other arguments like, what's the bad writing? And people will say, oh, it's the V's and Angel's abuse being treated so inconsistently. But that's a matter of perspective. Some people might think that that is inconsistent, but people like me think that it's actually pretty interesting to see how the V's view how they treat Angel from their point of view, how they think of it as funny, while when we see it from Angel's point of view, it's horrific. I think that's a really interesting approach. And then we have people who say things like the swearing and the dialogue. But I like the dialogue, I think it's fun, and I actually think the way Hazbin Hotel uses swearing is really interesting because they use it as characterization. Every character swears very differently, and it tells you a lot about them. So where's the bad writing? Where is the sweeping, unequivocally bad writing? It just isn't there. And it's even harder to point out when the show isn't done. When the show is finished, we can look back and actually talk about the writing and whether or not it was good or bad and succeeded in the messaging the show was trying to deliver. I think so far, it has. Redemption is very clearly being written as the core theme, and at no point do I feel like that is in question. While the exterminations are very clearly shown as wrong, the morals of the show are very strong. So where is that bad writing? Because I have watched this show time and time again and engaged with it honestly, fairly, and neutrally, and I have not